on WISN 12 News.
A big honor for the man who brought the Brewers to Milwaukee. We're live in Cooperstown as Bud Selig joins the Baseball Hall of Fame. And the video going viral tonight, New Jersey Governor Chris Christie confronting a Cubs fan at Miller Park. Only on 12 News, the fan shares his side of the story. Now, since we broke this story this afternoon, media outlets from the New York Post to TMZ, they're all picking it up. Ben is joining us in the newsroom with the story behind the video that you'll only see here on 12. Ben?
Well, Adrian, this video, you said it right there, it is all over the internet now. So in the interest of full disclosure, we want to point out that the man involved here is related to 12 News reporter Ben Hutchison. Ben is also the one who shot this video and only caught the end of the confrontation. That's the very end of a confrontation between Cubs fan Brad Joseph and New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. Joseph says it started like this.
When he initially was going up the stairs, I yelled his name. He was already quite a bit past me and probably 30 feet away. I yelled his name and I told him that he sucked.
When Governor Christie came back, Joseph says he called him another name.
I called him a hypocrite because I thought, it needed to be said. And he then turned around and walked all the way back towards me and got up in my face for what seemed like a long time. It was probably only about 30 seconds or a minute. He was like kind of kneeing me with his knee, like very clear. He was making contact, like, oh, you want to do something? You want to start something here?
Joseph admits he's not a Chris Christie fan. He said others in the crowd had been heckling the New Jersey governor too.
I remained calm and, just said I was trying to watch the game, which I understand he was probably just trying to do the same thing. But at the same time, he is a public official and this is America. And I think we have the right to say what you believe as long as it's not, crude or profane.
We reached out to Governor Christie's office for comment. We have not yet heard back. Governor Christie reportedly was at the game on Friday as well in Milwaukee. According to Fox Sports, his son works for the Brewers.
What you've seen here today are a little boy's dreams that came true. Thank you for this magnificent honor.
He's one of the newest members of the Baseball Hall of Fame, former Brewers owner and baseball commissioner emeritus Bud Selig. 12 Sports director Dan Needles has been in Cooperstown all weekend for the festivities. He joins us now live. Dan, looks like a lot of fun.
It certainly was, Adrian. A pretty good-sized contingent of family and friends and some former players joined Alan Huber Selig, affectionately known as Bud, here in Cooperstown today on what Bud called the greatest birthday of his life. Now, 50 of the living Hall of Famers were here, and they took the stage first before the new inductees. And included in that group were old friends and former Brewers like Hank Aaron, Robin Yount, and Raleigh Fingers. Now, Bud's favorite baseball memories are of his days as the Brewers owner, but he earned his Hall of Fame plaque for his 23 years as the commissioner of baseball.
In September of 1992, after 23 years of running the Brewers, I was asked to become chairman of Major League Baseball's Executive Council, in effect to be the interim or acting commissioner, yet I saw it only as a temporary assignment. I was sure it would last only 2 to 4 months. The 1994 strike was the most painful experience of my life. I began to experience what Harry Truman meant when he said, "The buck stops here." I can tell you that having the buck stop at your desk is not necessarily a good feeling, but it is a responsibility that comes with positions of leadership.
And unfortunately, some bitter still Montreal and Houston fans did boo Bud during the induction ceremony, but they were mainly drowned out by the cheers. Bud's 23-year tenure as the commissioner is the second longest in Major League Baseball history. Adrian?
And Dan, we know that Bud had quite a bit of support from Milwaukee and Cooperstown this weekend.
He certainly did. Actually, he had support from all over the country. Some of his fraternity brothers from UW-Madison from the 1950s flew in from all over the place. Also, besides his daughters and grandchildren and all the family members, there was Bob Uecker and the Brewers' current owner, Mark Atanasio. I talked to him in the parking lot after the speech. He said that everybody in the Selig party really enjoyed themselves, but They were all baking in the sun, so they couldn't wait to get inside for some air conditioning. Who can blame them? Reporting live from Cooperstown, New York, Dan Needles, WISN 12 Sports.
Fair enough. Okay, thank you, Dan. Well, the Brewers owner, he just mentioned it, issued a statement praising Seelig today, saying in part, Bud's impact is so far-reaching, both in terms of what he has done for the Brewers and the community, and also in changing the landscape of Major League Baseball. Now, again, Dan will be back at 10:30 for our Seelig to Cooperstown special. You don't want to miss it. That's live from the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Tonight, we're following breaking news from Racine. The medical examiner confirms to 12 News that a 16-year-old boy drowned in Lake Michigan tonight. Investigators say he went swimming with friends at Zoo Beach around 5:30 this evening, went under the water and did not come back up. Officials haven't released his name. More breaking news, too. A serious car accident on Milwaukee's northwest side. That car ended up on railroad tracks. Terry Sater joins us live now from 76th and Tower. Terry.
Ben, Milwaukee police have 76th Street closed from Dean Road all the way over to Tower. We'll show you some video we shot from the other side of the bridge. Somehow, a car careened off 76th Street, went upside down and landed on the railroad bed below. There were 2 people in that car. They are very critically injured. They called in a special rescue team from Milwaukee Fire Department to try to get down into the ravine where the railroad track is, get those people out of the car, and rush them to the hospital. They're both on advanced life support. I'm told one is more critical than the other. There's an accident reconstruction team in here right now trying to figure out how that car got off of the road and went upside down onto the railroad track. Again, both of those people on advanced life support. Live in Milwaukee, Terry Sater, WISN 12 News.
Thank you, Terry. For the first time tonight, we're hearing from the family of a Kenosha teen discovered dead in a Mount Pleasant ditch. Police are investigating the death of 17-year-old Olivia McKay as a homicide. Her family issued a statement this evening thanking law enforcement in Kenosha and Mount Pleasant, reading, quote, "We are humbled and overwhelmed as you've shown us that this loss of our Olivia is your loss too, and that you share in our heartbreak." Well, gunshots woke people up in the quiet small village of Oostburg early this morning.
2 people are dead. When deputies arrived to the home in Sheboygan County, they found those 2 men dead. Both had gunshot wounds. Investigators say they have someone in custody. They're calling that a person of interest. Neighbors say several kids were going in and out of the home before the shooting.
A bunch of innocent kids gaming, and the adults got into apparently into an argument, and the rest is history, right?
It's unbelievable. For our community, we're a very close-knit community, and everyone knows their neighbors and cares about everyone.
While investigators still haven't released the motive or relationship between the people, they say the public is not in any danger. Fire investigators are trying to determine what led to this huge fire in Brookfield. You can see the flames shooting from the office building near 124th and North. Firefighters were called to that scene around 3 this morning, eventually calling mutual aid from 14 other agencies.
So the biggest challenge here was actually some of the exposures. There's a couple of buildings that are very close. We had some embers get on one roof and start a fire up on the roof, so they had to extinguish that fire on that second building as well.
Nobody was hurt, and the building housed about 10 businesses. At last word, firefighters were on the scene putting water on hot spots.
We're now just days away from the Wisconsin State Fair, when crews are getting the rides ready on the Midway. This is video from this afternoon at State Fair Park. The fair will not include a ride similar to the one that broke apart at the Ohio State Fair last week. The 11-day fair begins on Thursday at 8 a.m. And you can find more information on events going on in our area by downloading the free WISN City of Festivals app. Just search WISN in the Google Play or App Store. And turning now to the weather, meteorologist Chris Swaim is in for Lindsay. And Chris, this was a great weekend, and it'll be a good start to the work week too, right?
I think it was one of the best of the summer. We had a lot of sunshine out there, temperatures a little bit cooler. It has been slowly warming, and that's going to be the case for the next couple of days. We are going to stick with the sunshine. Monday into Tuesday, here's a live look in Oak Creek. Very quiet out there tonight. Drexel Town Square starting to wrap up for the weekend. Here's a look at Milwaukee, temperatures in the mid-70s, dew point in the upper 50s. Close to that gets to 60. The more humid it starts to feel. A few clouds trying to make their way in tonight. Temperatures are in the mid-70s in Milwaukee, upper 60s in Racine, mid-60s in Kenosha, 68 in Waukesha, 64 in West Bend. As we go into the overnight hours, we stay clear for the most part tonight. Temperatures are going to fall into the mid-60s by early morning. Some of us in the mid-50s to low 60s. Still pretty dry out there over the next couple of days, but some changes in store. Ben, Adrian?
All right, thank you, Chris. Well, representatives from FEMA will be in our area this week looking at the damage from this month's flooding. They'll focus on Racine and Kenosha counties, some of those areas that were hit hardest. The damage assessment is the first step in seeking federal disaster help. A Milwaukee woman is accused of driving drunk and getting into an accident with her 4 kids in the car. Sheriff's deputies arrested Christina Glover at I-94 and National around 7:30 last night. The sheriff's office says Glover's children were not in car seats or wearing seat belts. They were also not seriously hurt. The kids are between 1 and 13 years old.
The White House officially gets a new chief of staff tomorrow. Retired General John Kelly will replace Wisconsin native Reince Priebus. Priebus says he resigned Thursday. President Trump tweeted the announcement Friday.
I think Reince was terribly effective, but was probably a little bit more laid back and independent in the way he ran the office. And I think the president wants to go a different direction, wants a little bit more discipline, a little more structure in there.
Priebus has not announced his future plans just yet, but implied he would be helping with the transition for a couple of weeks.
Governor Walker has called a special legislative session for later this week to consider an incentive package to lure tech giant Foxconn to southeastern Wisconsin. Upfront host Mike Goucher looks into the cost of Foxconn this morning on Upfront.
We hope you'll join us tonight for a special edition of Upfront from Lambeau Field. My guest will be State Representative John Nykren, co-chair of the Joint Finance Committee, talking about the incentives the state is offering Foxconn to build here. Can we afford it? I'll also be talking to Packers president Mark Murphy about the team's new Titletown district. What's already here, what's to come, and what does it mean for the team and the community? Plus, we'll look at Green Bay's efforts to save the Bay from an algae that's taking a toll on marine life. It's all coming up tonight at 11 o'clock right here on Upfront.
A fun concert suddenly turns dangerous.
A huge fire, thousands of people forced to flee. We'll tell you where this happened.
And watch as a train barely misses into crashing into a tractor. The trouble that the tractor driver is in tonight.
We have a few more sunny days left over the next couple of days, but there are changes in the 7-day forecast. We'll go over that and more coming up.
And a reminder here, our live special from Cooperstown on Bud Selig's induction into the Baseball Hall of Fame is just about 20 minutes away. We're back here in just a moment.
Milwaukee's